Mino Gekajab Kanawaya. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Sure. Thank God I wrote my password down. Apple makes you sends alarms if you have like one password for 100 different logins. Mino Gekajab Waabkaniikwe Dishnakaz Megazed Odam was Soxing Donjaba Anishamikwe and Dow Nijo Medeo. Where's my nephew? Dawson. Where did I put my feather?
What? No, just my feather. Oh, just your feather. It was easy.
Miigwech to my Jishan who had to step out to make a call. He's a busy guy. I called him this morning when Greg was asking me if I knew Dave intimately. He's my uncle, very closely. So miigwech to him for our opening and setting our day in a good way, and for all of your participation from the beginning. For me, that touches my spirit to know that Anishinaabe aren't forgotten in these conversations, and that our knowledge is being shared. We're sharing the knowledge that we want to share as well. We don't share everything, but we do share what we think is important. So miigwech to my uncle for doing that this morning. And as I was flying in, because I forgot to put this frost guard on my truck that helps less time to clean my truck off. Greg, Stacy, and I were over here in the side room, and there was a megazed, an eagle, that was over the bay and or the little harbor here. And that's a really good sign that you're doing good work, that you're doing the work that your spirit is calling to, and what your heart is leading you to. So I just wanted to share that, and not to toot my own clan's horn, but the megazed are pretty cool. I always say the mighty megazed. But we do, as clan folk, we do talk about our clans in a very boastful way, but in a very bashful and humorous way, and we tease about other clans too. So my mom lives in a nest full of megazed, and she's a Martin. She's a Waabkaniikwe. So we're always teasing her too. We have to tell her, calm down, Waabkaniikwe. But both of my parents, I have to acknowledge them as my first and forever teachers. And I'm over there from Wisconsin. And they're my first and forever teachers, and I chose them. And they represent the water and the fire. So my father is that spark of life, and my mother is that blood memory. That when I came down the canal and I came into this physical world, I picked up all of that blood memory that came from my mom and my great-grandma and my grandma and my 7 grandmothers back. That's how much blood memory I carry. And my 7th great-grandmother, she did something so profound that I would be here today. And so I appreciate all of those teachers. Mentors, there's so many to mention, but Waabkaniikwe is, you'll hear Waabkaniikwe or Jim Dumont, especially in our part of our territory, for the knowledge that he shares, and he encourages us to share this knowledge, because we're oral people, and if we don't share it and we just hold it, then it goes nowhere. And so when Anishinaabe are sharing knowledge, when anybody is sharing knowledge, that's very sacred. That's a sacred part that they're sharing with you, and to hold that as sacred with them too, to hold that space with them. Bodwewedan Bun, who's passed on, he's our Grand Chief and our lodge. I belong to the Three Fires Society, and that's some of where my knowledge comes from. And why am I sharing this with you? Because it's important to know that my knowledge actually comes from a place. and that you can go and you can speak to these people and you can validate that knowledge if you need to, if you want to. I also have to acknowledge all of my aunties and my uncles, especially Bamasige Bun, who brought teachings into our community and who wanted something different for his family and for his community. And so he went out and he sought these teachings, and then to my aunties, Bejgo, Gijgo Kwe, and Misko Beneshi Kwe. These are their Anishinaabe names, and it's important that we continue to announce their names, their original names. So that's Beige Rice and Faith Pegmagabo. Their English names. Acknowledge them too for encouraging us as children to hold these teachings. I was fortunate to grow up with in my community, but with these teachings as well, because they've really helped ground me in who I am and the path that I take. I also want to acknowledge my aunt who worked tirelessly and endlessly for education in our community, and that education was rooted in Anishinaabe and Anemoin, in Anishinaabe thought. And the translation is Anishinaabe thought, but so much more, it goes deeper. It's the way that we also walk and talk and the way that we live our life. It's our ways of knowing and being, doing, and understanding. And so Jaushko Gijiko Kweban, she ensured that we had that in our school. So I was fortunate to go to school. We moved out of Toronto and moved back here. And so I was fortunate to go to school in my community and be raised in that way where maybe the afternoon we would go to ceremony or we would build a sweat lodge. And that was my school. And so I'm so thankful for all of those teachers that continue to support my growth. Okay, sorry, can you hand out the water? So I'll talk about this water as they're handing it out. And I'll apologize now if you really fall in love with the water. It's from my house. And I say that because it's from a spring. And I grew up tasting this water. And when I went away to school or when I went away to work, I was a bit of a gypsy when I was younger and moved in and out of my community. I always came home and I would grab a cup and I would slam back some water because it's not filtered, like heavily filtered, like we don't have a soft water. Are you looking for a cup? For cups? Oh, thank you. There's a little one. Do you want these? And the water's just in the bubble. So last night, my mom, Nibi Kwe, we did a full moon ceremony, and so when I got home, I was reminded that we put our water and we have our nokomis, our grandmother, bless the water. So I went home and I washed out my copper vessel here and I filled it up with water and I took it outside, and the moon, she just happened to come through the clouds. And so she blessed this water that you're going to be drinking today. And we pray for water. And you'll see it soon once I get going here. And I'm going to share this song, and my aunt, she's within my lodge, Doreen Day, she created this song with her grandson. And she wants the world to know it. So it's been over 10 years that I've been sharing this song. Can I get a little swig too and someone needs a chance? So she created this song with her grandson. And they said these words: "Water, we love you, we thank you, and we respect you." So they said these words as they drove past this body of water every day that she drove him to daycare. And she has the most beautiful voice. You can go to Mother Earth Water Walk, or Walkers, something like that. And you can find this song on there, and you can hear the original version that she sings. So when we're offering our songs, we generally offer it to 4 directions. And so I'll offer this song, but I'll sing it 4 times, and at the last verse, and I'll let you know when that is, if you've caught the melody, you can hum it. And if you want to attempt the words, you're more than welcome to. So it's Nibi, gizage go, gizage ego. You'll hear gi, mi gwech, ewe namigo, gijawe namigo. So you can try. Please try. At least hum by the fourth verse. And while we're doing this, you're going to hold your water in your hand, and you're singing to the water. You're offering your words, your thoughts, your prayers. We're putting that into this water. And we're also going to be thinking about all of those ones who are going without water, all of those ones who don't have clean water, and that's within Ontario. So I'm so fortunate, as I said, to have grown up. We worked hard in ensuring our water was good. We could have gone on the water line, but, well, knock on wood, we're still good. Actually, that's probably not real wood. Somebody knock on wood for me. But if you also know this song, you can sing it with me too. If you're not humming, here's your chance to hum. Drink your water. I'm pretty sure there's more. We're pretty frugal. Which is good because you only need a drop. So yeah, the water has been blessed by the full moon. It's been blessed by your thoughts and your prayers. And all of these pictures are mine. Just disclaimer. I can share as I like. When we think about water, and as I learn more about water, and that it's a responsibility of women and those who identify as women and those who want to pick up the responsibility of water. Water is important. Water is important because we need it to live. How much water does the earth hold? Anybody? 80%? What's that? How much? we think about, and I'll talk more about, who's heard of Dr. Emoto? Masaru Emoto. Yeah, he did studies. In the later years of his life, he did more studies on water. And so when I actually got this picture of this, I can't remember if it's a snowflake or ice. I think it's ice. I'm not sure if that little blip in there is either. But anyways, I thought about Dr. Emoto. When we sing to our water, there's these really beautiful images, what I think are beautiful images that come up. And you can Google him, and there's lots that comes up about him. And I should be saying Dr. Emoto Bunt, because he's passed on. And we acknowledge our relatives with Bunt who have gone on. And so he did studies, and he took pictures of water. And when we're kind, we're loving, we're respectful, we have humility, there's these images that appear, and it looks like that the water is happy. And so when we think about ourselves and we just drank that water, and that water's been blessed by the full moon, and that water's been sung to by you, and you put your prayers into that, you're putting all of that goodness into you. You're putting all of that love into you. So even when we think about talking to people and how we talk to people, we think about those words that we're sharing, it's going into their water, it's going into their bodies. So we want to, you can, when you're trying to get a point across, and maybe it's challenging, you can still have kindness and respect in those words that you need to share. Even though it might be challenging and it might be a difficult conversation, you can still find that kindness and the strength to do that. And so when we're having those difficult conversations, to be aware of what we're putting into that other person with our words. So you put that goodness into yourself. And we know in our teachings that our Nokomis, our original grandmother, she also tells us what the water is going to be doing. So with the new moon, the full moon, all the moons, the different phases that we have, she also informs water. And Mama Aki, Mother Earth, Mama Aki, she's the Nokomis' original daughter. So Mother Earth, Mama Aki, and Nokomis, they have a strong relationship. And Nokomis sits where she sits so that she could always see her daughter. And that she could always see her grandchildren, which is us. And so we call her Nokomis. I was actually really fortunate to get this picture. My phone everybody calls their phone their camera, right? So that's my camera. And then I upgraded to a better phone, hoping for a better camera. So I managed to get this picture of Nokomis, and when we see Nokomis, we acknowledge her, and she's we refer to Nokomis as our grandmother. And if you're wondering, who would our grandfather be? Yeah, our grandfather is our son. So we have our grandmother and our grandfather. They're always looking at us. They're always taking care of us. So we have that connection to Nokomis and to Jesus or Mishomis. Yeah, where? Yeah, these are all Parry Sound-ish area. Sorry, wrong way. This is outside my house. So anytime that I get to look at Nokomis, this one I don't take credit for. Don't tell my brother. My brother took this picture, and he lives in Sudbury. Well, he lives outside of Sudbury, so there's not a lot of light pollution where he lives. And this is actually 2 photos that he superimposed the moon on. So he took the original picture behind it, and it had those lights, those rays of lights. And then he put another picture on top of that, and he put Nokomis, 2 Nokomises together. We do have a song that we also sing to Nokomis. And what we're doing is we're asking her to look at us, to look here. And it is asking her to take pity on us, but we're asking her to help us. It's a beautiful song that we sing in ceremony at full moon. And again, it's a connection that we have to our grandmother. See if I can remember it. We just sang it last night. So we're asking her, the Waabkaniikwe, to look at us. And in the Jawe Yan Anishinaabe, we're asking her to take pity on us. Because as a Anishinaabe, we were the last to be lowered in our creation story. And the image that we have is we were lowered with our toes. And we were lowered in that way because we didn't want to disrupt what Creator, Kajamanado had created. We didn't want to hurt any of creation. So we were lowered gently, and we tried to be lowered gently. And so we were the last to be lowered, so really creation can exist without us. We can't exist without creation. And so when I think about that song and I think about that last part, to take pity on us, I always think, like, what is she taking pity on me for? There's lots that I need help with still in this life and walking this physical life. As a Anishinaabe, you might recognize that person way in the back of the hand. That's Nibi, and all of our relatives, we decided to do a water bundle offering. Actually, we were kind of voluntold by the rest of our lodge. And we do these water bundle offerings 4 times a year. And what they are is they're a collective of sema, of tobacco, from all of our thoughts and our prayers, offering it to the water that we are going to continue taking care of the water. We are going to continue ensuring that the water is here for all of those generations that are coming behind us. As Anishinaabe, we think about the 7 generations that are coming behind us because of the 7 generations that thought of us coming behind them. So we in turn do the same thing, and we reach back for those ones who are still coming. And so we want to ensure that the water and the rest of creation, Indwe, Magan, and Duk, all of our relatives, that they're still here. And that there is something here for all of our relatives. So our Gite Anishinaabe, our ancestors, ensured that we would still be able to walk this path. And as we heard my Jishe Nakami share the resilience of the Anishinaabe, this is where it comes from, our teachings and our ceremony that were hidden in a time in our history and our story. And they're revitalizing. And so we do this in our community. We haven't done it in a little while, but we do this. And so we come together and we put tobacco ties together, and we put a bundle with food, and we offer a really beautiful water song that we had to learn just kind of overnight because it's specific to this water bundle. So we have specific songs that we also sing at different times. And so there's a water bundle song that we sing during this time that I won't share because it is specific to, we're not offering a water bundle. The other thing to caution, I should go back to the Nibi song way in the beginning. When you're singing water songs, be aware of what's coming because you're singing for the water. So it's already snowing, so we're okay. It's already here, it's good. But in those times where we had droughts in the last couple of years, Anishinaabe sung for the water. We lifted our pipes for the water. We offered our water bundles for the water, that water would come. And so that's why I add that in, because what you sing for and ask for, it will happen. So we take care of the water, and we know that the water has spirit. So as I had mentioned earlier, you sung to the water, you put your thoughts and your prayers into that water, and that spirit is in the water. The water is the spirit. So we don't, we're cautious in the way that we're working with the water as well. We're cautious in not just wasting it. because it's the only water that we have. One thing I learned about water is that I knew this growing up, but it's an interesting little fun fact, but that this is the water the dinosaurs drank. So the water is so old. It is one of our oldest relatives, just like our asin, our rocks. They're another oldest relative of ours too, and they also hold our stories. But the water holds our stories, and when we're receiving teachings, we drink a little bit of water every time, and that helps us to retain what we're hearing. So when we're in ceremony, there's people who come around and they're offering us water, they're taking care of us, and they're giving us that water. It's also a good palate cleanser too if you had a coffee this morning. But we know that water has spirit, manado. We know that the spirit runs. My brother there. And we didn't notice, but you can see at the top, on the very top, that there's the light above him. And this is actually in my community, this, I think I have a video. And anyways, it's in a special place, at a special lake that we know has, it's a very spiritual place. And so afterwards, when we were looking at my pictures, we noticed this light. And so we know that we were being visited by all those spirits there. Oh, that's my dog. Of course. Coco. She is a joy. She's my little, she's photogenic. So I'm going to flip through a couple of videos, and as you're hearing the water, I just want you to think about what some of the water does for you, how it moves you. But who can tell me where that was? Yeah. I was so amazed at the strength of water, because that is some thick ice. But for that water to find its way through, in our teachings, water is forever moving forward. So our life is forever moving forward. We think we take steps back, but we continue to move forward. So I think I visited here for about an hour. That one was a lot more than the video. I guess I'll take that one. So just shout out what those videos, what came up for you hearing the water. Peace? Calm. Life. Pardon? Life?
It reminds me of the water being recycled millions and millions of years ago. How it rains, recycle.
Yeah, that last one, that again was in one of our lakes that's special to us. And every time that I've gone to that lake, and I've been met with different types of water, either if I'm on my paddleboard or in my kayak. Thankfully, when it's rough, I'm in my kayak, not on the paddleboard. But they bring a sense of, for me, a calm, a peace, and meditative. I would say a meditative state that also comes with being near water. Having grown up on an island, I do say I'm an island girl, although we have a bridge that I can get on and off. To be surrounded by water growing up that's when I'm near water anywhere, that's my connection to home. So I could be in Quebec Falls. I could be on the Nesbitt Trail, looking at, there was one strong rapid there. But that connection that I have to the water connects me to home, and I miss home a little less. We all know where that is. We know that, as I said, that water continues to move. This is from a plane. I didn't realize you could see whatever that thing is on the plane. But this was, I think, over Saskatchewan. And so there's a couple of different images that have been pointed out to me, but what I see, and it's not because it's my plan, but I see an eagle. Someone said they saw a horse as well. But what drew me to this picture was how powerful water can be. And as I said, water continues to move forward. It finds a path. So I have on either side of my house this stream. And no matter how much, it's a family home, so when my mom was there, no matter how much she tried to divert that stream, it just came back to where it was. It continues to be there. So we just kind of, we're living with the stream now on either side of the house. But we see how determined water can be, and water will find its path and will make its path. My younger sister, her name is Nibi, and that means little stream. And so that also teaches us about her, that she's going to continue to move forward. And as my Zhishef Amasigayvan shared with my mom, she's going to move forward, but you be the banks and you guide her. You guide that stream to where she's going. And so we've seen that in the last little bit of her life, this little bit of floundering. But we're that bank for her, and we continue to help her move forward. My other niece, my little niece, her name is Manado Benases, and that means little spirit bird, but that has a connection to the sky and this world. So in the physical world, she's in the star world, and she's in that spirit world, but she has a connection to this physical world. So her connection to the water is through the sky and through that moon that is also in her name as well. My other niece, my bigger niece, she's in her almost 30. Her name is Nungos, and that is that little star. And so she also has a connection to water as well, and that's through the sky too. I didn't explain my name, so I'm going to go back right to the beginning. My name, Waabkaniikwe, comes from my great uncle on my dad's side, and it means the strength of my family. So if you break open a bone, literally translated, it's white bone woman. But if you break open a bone and you see the marrow in a bone, that's the strength it's referring to. And it took me a long time to understand my name. Previous to that name, I had Waabkaniikwe, which is blossoming flower woman, and I grew into the name that I carry today. So we're all determined, is what this picture is telling me. Again, Quebec Falls, I just couldn't get over the strength of the water, how it moved me as well. I was quite frosted when I came off the trail, because it was a little chilly up there. And this, of course, is just across the bay. This is Waabkaniikwe. I like going on the fitness trail because then I can see my homelands across the way. As we're starting to turn into winter and everything is beginning to rest, our water does the same thing in some places. And so this is actually in Shawanaga. I was hunting for some cedar, and I came across this little body of water, and it's pretty cool how there was like no disturbance, like no other tracks on it yet. It was But what we're reminded about is winter, the bone reminds us to rest as well, that we need to rest too. And we know that water can move. So this is under the Waabkaniikwe Bridge, the swing bridge, and it's always moving under there, but we know that it's been really cold when it freezes. And for me, that's a sign to slow down, to take a few breaths. This is actually in Thunder Bay. I was flying over Thunder Bay and looked out the window and seen the freeze up that was starting to happen. That was nice and Nibi. But when we look at pictures of water, for me, there is calm. There is a sense of belonging too, and maybe not just a sense, but belonging. And seeing that I also have purpose, and that part of my purpose is to be a caretaker of water, of Nibi. This is up in Oak Point Marina. I like going up there too because you can see to the bottom of the water. We also paddleboard up there. Me and my paddleboard buddies. There's about 6 of us that go. Try and balance and laugh at the same time. Miigwech, Kanawea, for your endless work in taking care of the land with us and taking care of the water with us. I'm thankful to have been asked and honored to have been asked to come and share today, as my uncle had said this morning, Bangi, the little bit that I know. And I will continue to share what I do know. Miigwech bazinde minwa gibijaye. Miigwech for listening and coming through the snow. Miigwech.
So we do have time if folks have questions for Waab. Can I ask, one of the things I was going to say with water is, because it's for me and you speak to it with Sup, but it's sort of that element of playfulness. Is there a connection between the water and playfulness? Because, well, when I see moving white water, I just want to go and play. But,
Yeah, of course.
so,
Yeah, definitely. I think for myself too, it reminds us, my other uncle, Zagosage, John Rice, he also talks about that we don't stop playing. As we age, we think we have to stop playing and that life has to be serious. And if you know John Rice, he always likes to joke and he's always poking fun. Same with my uncle, Manakami, he's always joking and poking fun as well. And we do the same. And I feel that, yeah, for sure, water teaches us to do that. Water teaches us lots, right? To keep moving as you do your little, what is it, the rapid kayak, I don't know what it's called. Whitewater, yeah. You have to keep moving. But then there are times where we can just sit by the water and we can just be as well. But we see our young ones and how much joy comes from playing in the water, being in the water. But we also know too that water can be very soothing for us.
Nibi, Rich, Bob, really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing with us this morning and also for all the amazing work and sharing you do forward. I do have a gift.